And the acoustical argument is, quite a bit related to the argument from consistency. Acoustically, of course, the more stable the bore is from day to day to day and week to week and month to month, season to season, the more consistently you're going to be able to play, the more predictable the clarinet's going to play. That's one thing that's really remarkable. But one of the thing I find that's just absolutely amazing about hard rubber clarinets is the amazing stability of the scale. Once you put a top-flight professional acoustic in hard rubber, and you get all the tapers and get tone hole positioning, the tuning is absolutely amazing, and the consistency of the tuning from clarinet to clarinet to clarinet is also absolutely amazing. But even more amazing than the acoustics is the uniformity in response and the uniformity in tone color. And the other thing is the stability. Now, when I talk about stability, I want you to imagine a little bubble here that's the musical tone. Inside the musical tone, that is intrinsic to the musical tone, is pitch, color, and shape. And extrinsic to the musical tone is volume, that is how loud or how soft the note is. What I find in hard rubber that's superior to wood is the amazing stability of pitch, color, and shape in dynamic changes. And the upper register is also warmer and rounder and just more pleasant to listen to. In fact, if you ask a non-clarinet player to listen, almost every time they will prefer the beauty of the sound, the softness of the sound. I don't mean in volume, but the softness and the texture of the sound, the gentleness on the ear. They'll prefer hard rubber to wood almost every time, almost every time. At the very worst, they'll be able to hear no difference at all. So that's the argument from the acoustical argument: superior tuning, stable tuning, more even response from hand to hand, and more stability in pitch, color, and shape. These are all the things that I've experienced, and I dare say that my customers who have been open-minded enough to seriously consider and play hard rubber clarinets find much the same thing, and I think you will too. Speaking about customers, I'm going to now present to you the argument from experience. And I can tell you from my own playing experience, of course I've been talking about that all along, but my experience with customers, people who have played hard rubber clarinets, I could sit here and talk for hours about the responses that I've gotten from people about how much they love playing their clarinet. But I'll relate one to you. One gentleman called up from New Jersey. He said he wanted to buy one of my hard rubber clarinets, or at least look into it, because he thought it just sounded intriguing. But he said he had a top-line horn, one of those instruments that $5,000 instruments by a manufacturer that you would recognize if I mentioned it, and one of those boutique models, as a matter of fact. And he said he liked the clarinet quite a bit, but he's willing to consider the hard rubber clarinet. And so I prepared an instrument for him. I sent it up to him, and forgot about it. And anyway, about 3 months later, I got a call from the gentleman, and he reminded me who he was. He was a gentleman from New Jersey. And I said, well, what happened with the clarinet? He said, oh, well, I bought your clarinet. He said, I really love it. And he said, you know, if you hadn't remembered, I also mentioned that if I really liked your clarinet, I might think about selling mine, but I can't get the price for it that I want. So I was thinking it's really a good clarinet. So, I'll probably end up keeping it, but one of the things I'd like to know is this. If I sent that clarinet down to you and you worked on it, could you make it play as well as your clarinet does? That is a tried and true story, friends. And that's one of the many experiences, personal experiences, that I've had working with customers. Again, all you have to do is be open-minded enough to give an instrument a really good try, and to discover what it actually does by examining it, not with the label, not by what's on the label, but by how it actually performs in the different categories of response, tone, tuning, stability, and so on and so forth, evenness of response, resistance. Okay? That's what I recommend that you do, not just for our hard rubber clarinets, but for any clarinets that you try. Never trust the label. Always look at the performance qualities, and you'll end up with a better horn, and you'll end up happier with it. When I first started working with hard rubber clarinets, the key work was a real problem. And this is nothing new when you have new manufacturers working on instruments. This was a problem with almost all the major manufacturers that we consider now superfine makers of clarinets. Yamaha and Jupiter for just two, that they started off and what they were doing didn't look too great. But they worked at it and worked at it. And what I've seen with the Chinese and working with the Chinese manufacturers in acoustical design and with the mechanics is I've seen incredible improvements in the mechanics of the clarinet. Our Libertas clarinet that we've just put on the market has an excellent mechanism. Smooth, quiet, even, very durable keys. The workmanship and key fitting is excellent. So the most valid argument against what you see from hard rubber clarinets, that argument is beginning to vanish completely, so that the clarinets can be considered purely on their acoustical and logistical considerations. So anyway, that's the long and short of the mechanics. We've seen big improvements. I've worked with the manufacturers to make sure that they make things better and better and better and better, and we'll continue to improve and eventually be able to offer a lot of variety as far as mechanics goes as well. And many players will, I think, find that to be a beneficial thing. I've never been considered a tree hugger. I mean, it's not that I have anything against trees. I like trees. I like shooting them in video. I think they're amazing, beautiful things that look like vestiges from, I don't know, some prehistoric era. And somehow they were able to survive through everything. They're amazing, amazing critters. But an environmentalist, no, I don't think I've ever been accused of that. But for those that are interested, hard rubber, I remember years ago, the worry among clarinet players was, what will we do when we run out of grenadilla wood? What will we do when the wood deteriorates in quality and so on and so forth? Well, once I found out how good hard rubber clarinets were, how consistent they were, and their performance qualities, I forgot all about that consideration. I wasn't worried about it at all. But if you are environmentally concerned, one thing is for sure, that hard rubber clarinets are drawn from the lifeblood, the sap, the rising sap of the rubber tree. What does this mean? It means that the sap is drained off and then processed to make clarinets, and it doesn't kill the tree. You're not tearing down the environment by playing hard rubber clarinets. It's really kind of a neat thing to know that you don't kill the trees when you extract the latex that eventually is processed into pure natural hard rubber. And remember, the hard rubber clarinets are not mixed with plastic, especially those that come from China, because rubber clarinets in China are from trees that grow naturally there. In fact, Firestone and Ford actually, when they first started in the tire business, they got their rubber from China. So the Chinese sort of fell out of the boat and came up with fish in their boots by having this natural source of rubber available to them that they could produce clarinets with. It's an amazing substance, and I think it's ideal for clarinet making. And I've laid out all the arguments that well, not all of them that I know, but I've laid out the major arguments for a clarinet player to seriously consider it, and for a clarinet teacher. And I'm going to lay out one more argument, and then we're done. The final argument is the argument from expense. Hard rubber clarinets are not only more consistent, more stable, and less problematic, and have many, many features that I consider minimally at least equal, playing features that are equal to wood clarinets. Hard rubber clarinets are much less expensive. And if you have something that performs as well, that is more stable, that lasts longer, then and costs less, that's the best of both worlds, of all these worlds combined. And I think in today, with the problems that we have with the economy and the problems that people have with money, that it's a matter of conscience, it's a matter of ethics for clarinet teachers to seriously look into hard rubber clarinets because they're wonderful instruments, and you're not making any sacrifice by buying one in terms of music, and you're saving parents and students a lot of money at a time when saving a lot of money is a very welcome thing. So the argument from expense is not a small argument. It's a very big argument, and it looms bigger and bigger the more problems we have with economics and so on and so forth. So please consider all the sum force of all these arguments. And all I'm asking, I'm not asking for agreement. All I'm asking is for clarity. And I'm asking you to seriously consider this clarinet, these clarinets that have so much to offer and save you so much money, while not asking you to sacrifice as far as the actual performance of the instrument goes. In fact, the fact that it'll never crack, the fact that it'll last years and years and won't blow out like many clarinet players say wood clarinets do, you know, I mean, what's not to like? To review, hard rubber, when compared to wood with similar acoustical design, plays, tunes, and sounds better, and is much more consistent in production, ensuring you're much more likely to get a great clarinet for yourself or your student. Hard rubber won't crack and is dimensionally stable throughout the seasons. Hard rubber clarinets produce a more even response than wood, with rounder, fuller upper clarion and third register tones. Hard rubber will not blow out like many clarinetists feel wood clarinets do. Hard rubber clarinets are much less expensive than wood clarinets. Our hard rubber clarinets are being played by some of the finest clarinetists in the world and some of the most elite musical organizations. This is not widely known for one simple fact. Ridenour Clarinet Products does not pay for endorsers or pay for individuals to promote our work on the World Wide Web.